Well, hello everyone and welcome back to another video, the F1 22 driver career mode video with Williams, episode number 20 today for the Mexican Grand Prix for Season 1. If you missed the previous episode uploaded last Thursday at the United States Grand Prix, I reckon go and check that out. And of course, subscribe new to the channel to see plenty more F1 22 driver career mode videos. Coming into this one then, R&D wise, we're just literally at this moment in time just trying to get all these upgrades converted so that at least if we don't get a seat elsewhere higher up the grid due to whatever the evil doctor decides for us next year, you know, that we've got at least a good car at Williams that we can rely on. And you know, that's the same that I'm sure Albon will be working with, especially in real life with his new contract. In terms of R&D tree though, Red Bull back in front of Mercedes. We're back down to the bottom, but back to last place as typical, because AlphaTauri brought some upgrades as well, and they're close to Haas now. But you know, that field spread has got a lot closer than it was at the start of the season. So hopefully it stays as close, you know, going into Season 2. But we'll have to wait and see. You know, some teams might lose out. Depends also what driver transfers happen, because we know after Season 1 to Season 2 is the time where the most driver transfers tend to happen as well. So that'll be coming up in either next week or the week after, depending on scheduling. But yes, to qualifying then, Mexico is a good track. This is my first race on 1.08, so obviously, it turns out, slight little correction on what I've been saying previously about R&D not applying. Turns out that R&D's been applying for the player, but the AI have been getting a double helping of it. So that is frustrating. How has that been allowed to happen? Nevertheless, hopefully we can get all of this sorted out. Whether we'll get every bug sorted out, I doubt it. There's probably some major ones that probably are going to surface up, and they're probably never going to get fixed as well. But back to my lap, we're slightly up on Ocon, so 4.5 tenths up almost on our previous best time. We get a good double slipstream from the Ferrari so far, and I think it's that Albon up in front, I think, as well. So we're going to see where he can be. He's down in 18th, we're only 16th. Across the line was 6 tenths improved, and where will that be? P8. Well, we were nowhere in that qualifying session, and all of us, just like that, we managed to get P8, 4 tenths off pole as well. Well, that's definitely a big improvement. Verstappen on pole as well, but it is close between Russell, Leclerc, Perez as well. And then we're 4 tenths back, but that's what a track like Mexico can do to you. The whole grid separated by 1.5 seconds, as I said. Albon 7 tenths back. Don't know if he had a poor lap or something, but we'll see what we can do from 8th on the grid. Time for the race, today's Mexico Grand Prix.
Welcome to Mexico City, the most populous city in North America, and home, of course, to the Mexico City Grand Prix. It's a sellout crowd as usual here at one of the shortest circuits on the Formula One calendar, and who, I wonder, will they be cheering on the top step of the podium today? The Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, 2.6 miles of track that allows the drivers to take full advantage of their cars reaching speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour and providing lots of opportunities for overtaking. Circuit features 17 corners, 10 to the right and the remaining 7 going to the left. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, just ahead of George Russell, who starts this event from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Perez, Lando Norris and Hamilton, Phoenix, Bottas, Ricciardo and Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Ocon, Kevin Magnussen and Mick Schumacher, Albon, Sainz. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty, Sebastian Vettel and Guan Yu Zhou, Stroll and Yuki Tsunoda, It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you here with us today. But I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
So here we are down in P7, thanks to Carlos Sainz deciding to take a new engine. We've got loads of new engine parts thanks to my poor qualifying earlier in the season, and now that's starting to pay off a little bit as well. So, you know, race strategy is going to be the usual one, stop from soft to medium. Again, medium to soft isn't fast enough as well, you know, and the medium tyre is terrible off the line. So 5 red lights then for the Mexican Grand Prix, and away we go. And it's a mediocre start, and then the AI do their usual thing where, oh dear. So, you know, still, the AI do their usual thing where they, in that second phase of the launch, they just move away from you. So that definitely hasn't been fixed. We almost made contact with Hamilton through turn 1, as well he's going side by side with Leclerc. We are in front of Hamilton. There is fortunately getting away with no damage, but Hamilton and Leclerc battling all though. Can we get Hamilton here? Hamilton down the inside. No, Lewis gets the outside line, gets the better traction out of that corner. Of course he does as well. Meanwhile, up at the front, while we were trying to have a look at Hamilton, the 2 Red Bulls are squabbling, which isn't good for Verstappen's championship fight, but the home support will be happy because Sergio Perez takes the lead in the Mexican Grand Prix as Norris decides to be an aggressive move. What are you thinking of making the move of that corner? He's got look at the traction he's getting out of that corner. That is just ridiculous as well. And then he decides to oh yeah, I'm just going to go side by side, not thinking about the overtake. You know, I always try and leave the AI and everyone as much room as possible, even though that's not always possible. And speaking of someone who's out of the race, that is Esteban Ocon, who's out of the race with an engine failure, as well as he's parked up there. Norris did think about trying to make an overtake under yellow flags, but nothing doing there. Now Lewis Hamilton up ahead is going slowly. Apparently Mark's been over the radio to say he's got a bit of an issue as well, so I don't know what's happening there. You know, unlike the usual Mercedes reliability that they had been so good as well. And we're going to make a dive bomb here. We can't be stuck behind Lewis because he is going so slowly. You know, I mean, yes, I'm in a Williams, and yes, we are. Otherwise, we've actually been falling back. You know, fighting Norris and Alonso behind us and Bottas. And you can see there that, you know, Hamilton is definitely struggling. They're probably pressing Control-Alt-Delete, and you know they're going side by side through the stadium section, out the final corner, and Norris is just about going to get past. Or is he though? They're still going side by side, but yes, Norris will out-traction him. Hamilton's still there though, and Alonso has got a great run on both of them, and has got both of them with this bit of slipstream and DRS. Fantastic move from the man departing Alpine in real life and retiring in this career mode, but obviously it's not going to last too long. Norris already all over the back of Alonso, unable to get past there, as Hamilton has fallen behind his former teammate Valtteri Bottas in the Alfa Romeo. As well, Hamilton's now going to start to come back at Bottas, so as he fixed that issue as well, we'll have to watch out for that. A little bit of contact between Bottas and Hamilton, but Hamilton's back through, and this time Norris takes the outside line, but Alonso locks up, and that's going to allow Norris through back in front of Alonso. And this is a good time to pit actually on the end of lap 7, with Norris past Alonso. You know, he's in a much faster McLaren car as well. Tyre wear as well, getting 39% as well. So, you know, if we were to stay at Williams for Season 2, if that's what Red Bull decide that they want to do with us, then, you know, then we would have to look at some tyre wear upgrades after the end of the season, once we've got all the R&D parts just adapted for next season. As unfortunately for the locals, Max Verstappen has jumped Sergio Perez in the pit stop round, so Verstappen is back in front. Leclerc leads Russell as well, so you know Verstappen needs those points to keep his championship hope alive, as Albon has gone he's gone deep into the corner and then needs to make contact with Schumacher, and that's surely going to have to be a new front wing for our teammate who's not having a great race as well. Twice now he's made mistakes now, as Russell is having a go at Charles Leclerc, as you can see there, but Verstappen stays in front of Perez. But unlike those two, Russell is going to get in front of Leclerc just about here. There he cuts in front of him, and Russell on the podium. That's good news for Verstappen. That's 3 more points to Verstappen, as Alonso's gone past Lando Norris, and I think Norris has a bit of front wing damage, which is why he hasn't, you know, moved up to the back of me. Why, you know, Alonso's taken a second and a half out of us. So we're going to play in the tactical game here and try and get DRS down this big main straight of us on lap 16. You know, that's how long Norris was holding everyone up. You know, Hamilton and Sainz are not too far, right on the tail of Norris. Not a great exit out of the final corner, but we are going to activate DRS now, and closing, gaining, but not gaining enough. You know, I thought we'd be past Alonso by now. We're going to dive bomb to keep the position, otherwise, and there's no way, if you can't get past him before turn 1, we're not going to get past him down to turn 4. But that was a big issue for us, as while we were making our move, Norris and Hamilton were going side by side. It looks like Hamilton has fixed his issue. There's a bit of a tyre bang between the two, but Hamilton is going to get the better exit and will be past the 4-year-old, as Alonso comes again. We're going to decide not to give him DRS and defend that line. We're able to do so and retain P5, but you know, all this battling while with just trying to retain a 5th place position would be our 2nd best position of the grid this season, as Norris has come back at Hamilton, but Hamilton is going to get back in front on the penultimate corner of the lap there through the stadium section as well, and they're still battling on the final lap as well. As we come through then, Max Verstappen has won this Grand Prix, Leclerc only 4th, and we're going to come through the P5, which is exactly what we need. A great result here at Mexico, you know, good qualifying as well, somehow out of nowhere, I must add. I was thinking we were going to get like P13, 14, get P10, like P9, P10 in the race, as we have been, but no, a good, you know, qualifying set us up for a good race. Yes, you can see that our fastest lap was nowhere near the likes of Alonso, Norris, well, close to Norris, but nowhere near the likes of Hamilton, you know, the guys ahead, as they shouldn't be, as well. Even Ricciardo finishing, and you know, Albon's, to be fair, his fastest lap was close to mine, so I just think he just had a bad qualifying, and then, you know, he had that moment in the race. So for us, it's P10. We're not going to catch Bottas for P9, but it does give us some breathing room to Ocon. Ricciardo is an issue. He's 20 points back with 2 races remaining, and remember, Brazil is a sprint race. In the Constructors, though, we've finally achieved our target and get P7 in the Constructors. So as long as Haas continue their point scoring streak, we should be able to do that. Nice to get Albon scoring some points as well. But this is just to show you how many parts we've got. You know, we're in such a good position just taking those full engine parts. So we've actually got actually a fresh engine in for this race as well. So we'll have a fresh engine for Brazil, or freshish engine for Brazil as well. And then Abu Dhabi will just use the least used parts. So that's that. That in these early seasons, that's the way I like to go about it. For me personally, is to have a fresh engine for the last race maybe, and especially helpful in a world championship fight. But obviously, they have to pay the price at some of the tracks where you take engine penalties. So yes, we've got 2 races to go. Brazil is out Thursday. It's a sprint race as well, so it will be slightly longer than today's episode as well. So I hope you have enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and you see plenty more F1 22 driver career mode videos as when they come out. Until the next video then, I'll see you next time. Take care, thanks so much for watching, enjoy your day, and goodbye.